There is a good reason that narcissistic abuse survivors developed weird self-defense mechanisms. After enduring the emotional roller coaster of manipulation, gaslighting, and constant belittling, it's no surprise that your mind and body would create ways to cope and protect yourself. These mechanisms can be odd, but they often serve as essential tools for navigating the aftermath of trauma. Today, we'll explore some of these unique self-defense strategies, shedding light on why they happen and how they can help or hinder your healing journey. Are you ready for number 1? Unintentional mimicry. Have you ever found yourself unconsciously copying how someone talks or moves to feel like you belong? That's called unintentional mimicry, and it often pops up after dealing with narcissistic abuse. When you've been hurt by someone who didn't respect your true self, your brain might think, if I act like them, I'll be safe. It is a way to blend in and avoid any more emotional pain. According to therapist Dr. Judith Orloff, this behavior can help shield you from judgment, but can also make you lose touch with who you are. Listen closely. As psychologist Carl Rogers said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. So, while it's natural to mimic others in tough times, it's super important to reconnect with your unique voice and personality." Let's talk about number 2, cryptic messaging. After experiencing narcissistic abuse, you might find yourself using cryptic messaging, speaking in riddles or being vague, to dodge confrontations. You've learned that being direct can lead to drama or conflict, so you wrap your thoughts in a cloud of mystery instead. As clinical psychologist Dr. Ramani Durvasula puts it, narcissistic relationships can teach you to be guarded, leading you to communicate in ways that protect you from potential fallout. This way you might feel safer, but it can also make it hard for others to understand you. Remember this: clear communication can build healthier relationships, and being straightforward might help you regain your voice. Let's move on to number 3, over-explaining. When you've been through narcissistic abuse, you might catch yourself over-explaining everything you do, almost like you feel the need to justify your actions to avoid any criticism. It's like a reflex. You worry that someone might judge or blame you if you don't provide a detailed explanation. According to therapist Dr. Jennifer Sweeten, when you've faced criticism from a narcissist, your mind can become wired to seek validation through excessive justification. While it's good to communicate, remember that you don't owe anyone a lengthy explanation for your choices. Trust your instincts and know it's okay to say, "This is what I'm doing and that's enough." Now let's continue to number 4, self-deprecating humor. After dealing with narcissistic abuse, you might find yourself using self-deprecating humor and cracking jokes at your own expense to beat others to the punch when it comes to criticism. It's like a shield. You figure if you make fun of yourself first, no one else can hurt you. But while humor can be a great way to cope, it's essential to remember that constantly putting yourself down can hurt your self-esteem. As psychologist Dr. Kristin Neff says, self-compassion is not self-deprecation. It's about treating yourself with kindness instead of harshness. So, while it's okay to laugh at yourself occasionally, make sure you also give yourself the love and respect you deserve. You can't miss number 5, repetitive mantras. When you've been through narcissistic abuse, you might find yourself using repetitive mantras, saying specific phrases over and over to remind yourself of your worth and the boundaries you want to set. It's like giving yourself a pep talk to counter all the negative messages you've heard. For example, you might say, "I am enough," or "I deserve respect," to help reinforce your self-esteem. As life coach Mel Robbins points out, words are powerful. When you repeat a mantra, you train your brain to believe it. It can be a great way to reclaim your strength and create healthy boundaries in your life. So keep those mantras handy. They're not just words, but reminders that you're worthy and deserve to be treated well. Are you still up for number 6? Compulsive organization. After going through narcissistic abuse, you might find yourself compulsively organizing everything around you, like your belongings or your schedule, as a way to feel a bit more in control of your life. It's almost as if you can manage your environment and create a sense of safety amidst the chaos you've experienced. According to psychologist Dr. Sherry Campbell, when you felt powerless, organizing can be a way to reclaim that sense of control and stability. While having a tidy space can be comforting, make sure you're not using it to avoid dealing with deeper feelings. Finding that balance between order and emotional healing is essential, so give yourself some grace as you navigate this journey. Let's keep it moving to number 7, daydreaming as escape. After experiencing narcissistic abuse, you might find yourself daydreaming a lot, using your imagination as a way to escape from distressing situations or feelings. It's like your mind creates a safe little bubble where everything feels better, and you can be whoever you want without the pain or stress of reality. Therapist Dr. Jonas Webb explains that daydreaming can be a form of emotional self-protection, allowing you to distance yourself from hurtful experiences. While it's perfectly normal to want to escape sometimes, remember that it's also important to face your feelings and heal. Finding a balance between those dreamy escapes and dealing with what's going on in your life can help you move forward more positively. Here comes number 8, pet-centric living. When you've been through narcissistic abuse, you might find yourself getting attached to your pets, almost like they're your lifeline. It's understandable. Pets can give us that unconditional love we often miss from people. As therapist Dr. Nicole LaPera says, animals offer a type of companionship that allows us to feel safe and understood. This pet-centric living can become a self-defense mechanism where you seek emotional security and comfort in your furry friends instead of risking it with people. While it's good to cherish your pets, remember to balance that love with healthy human connections. After all, as life coach Mel Robbins says, you have to be the person you want to attract, so don't forget to nurture those relationships too. Moving on to number 9, imaginary conversations. Have you ever found yourself having imaginary conversations in your head, especially when you're gearing up for a challenging chat with someone? It's a pretty common thing after experiencing narcissistic abuse. You're rehearsing how you want to respond so you feel more in control when the moment comes. As psychologist Dr. Judith Orloff explains, imaginary conversations can help you process your feelings and prepare for difficult interactions. While this can be a helpful way to build confidence, remember it's essential to be present in the conversation. Life coach Tony Robbins often says, how we communicate with others and ourselves ultimately determines the quality of our lives. So, while practicing those dialogues can be helpful, don't let it keep you from connecting genuinely with others when the time comes. Finally, we're down to number 10. Obsessive planning. If you found yourself obsessively planning every little detail of your life, you're not alone. This is a common reaction after dealing with narcissistic abuse. It's like you're trying to create a safety bubble around yourself by scheduling everything so nothing catches you off guard. As therapist Dr. Karen K. Hooper says, when life feels unpredictable, over-planning can give you a false sense of control. While having a plan is good, it can also make life rigid and stressful. Remember, sometimes the best moments happen when we let go of the schedule. Life coach Marie Forleo reminds us, success doesn't come from what you do occasionally, it comes from what you do consistently. So, while having a plan is okay, try to leave some space for spontaneity too. In conclusion, those weird self-defense mechanisms you've developed after narcissistic abuse are not just quirks. They're survival tools that your mind created to help you cope with the aftermath of a challenging experience. But remember, while these strategies can be helpful, it's essential to work towards healing and building healthier ways to connect with yourself and others. Embrace your uniqueness and don't hesitate to seek support when needed, because you deserve to thrive beyond the challenges you've faced.